Hello and welcome back to Courier Blog and Photography. I'm Steven. In today's video, I'm going to share with you guys a personal experience of mine dealing with this figure right here, which arrived broken in the mail. My recent lack of activity on YouTube, I have not uploaded a single video for almost 2 weeks now, and this figure right here has something to do with it. This is Questskill's 1x7 scale Elizabeth Bathory from Fate Grand Order, and do note that this video today is not a figure review of her. There will be a separate video for her figure review later on, maybe a week later, depending on how my schedule works out. I do not want the figure review to go off topic and nobody will want to watch a 20 minutes long figure review. So I decided to keep these two topics separate. Long story short, I bought this figure a couple of weeks ago and it arrived broken due to bad handling from the courier. The shipping company wasn't playing nice with the parcels. If you were to ask me whether the seller did a good job with packaging the parcel, I can guarantee you that is the case. There were a lot of thick bubble wrap around the figure box, yet the figure took a significant damage from it. However, while the majority of the fault lies on the courier, I believe part of the fault goes to the figure manufacturer behind this figure right here, Questskill. Let me show you guys the box. So this is her box, and in terms of the quality, it is not a very solid box, not a very rigid box, right? And in my opinion, this is a 20,000 yen figure, $200 figure. This kind of box quality is kind of unacceptable, if you were to ask me for my opinion. Let me give you guys a comparison. So this is Aniplex Ishtar, and also a 20,000 yen Japanese figure. More or less similar pricing, similar scale, but the box is a lot more rigid and better in quality. As you can see, different sound when I tap on the box. So in comparison, Elizabeth Bathory's box is a lot more flimsier and less solid. However, when I took the box out of the shipping parcel, there wasn't really any major damage on the box, oddly. So when you look at the side from the side over here, you can kind of see the back panel of the box caved in. So yes, this is a damage resulting from shipping. The back of the box took a major hit, but this is a very minor damage, at least at first glance, compared to what I've experienced in the past. I've experienced way worse and the figure survived. So I wasn't expecting anything to go wrong with the figure. But the first bad news began when I opened the lid of the box. Right? See this? So this is the sign, a sign that the box took a very big hit on the back, that even the plastic cladding that held the figure together caved in severely. The box is fairly elastic, so that might be why the box did not take much damage externally. When you press it in, right, it bounces back. So the box is a bit elastic. That might be why there wasn't much damage on the outside. But on the inside, this is very obvious. The courier wasn't playing nice with the box. Now let me take it out. This plastic cladding over here. Okay. So as you can see, the top and the side over here took a very big hit during shipping. And this area is exactly where her tail is positioned, over here. And I was really unhappy when I saw this. And to me, Questskill cut corners on the packaging of the box. If this is the area where her tail was sitting, if you look at the border of the plastic cladding, the amount of free space is about half an inch at most. And that is not enough space between the figure and the exterior of the box. There is not enough space. So when the figure box takes a hit, it is very easy to hit the figure directly, which resulted in the broken tail. So to me, this indirectly means the box, the plastic cladding, and the box of this figure is too small for the figure. The box should have been bigger, or tougher and more rigid, or if Quesq insisted on keeping the box small so that you guys save on shipping costs, they should have kept the tail a separate part. That would have prevented a broken tail. Also, the seller I bought this figure from is not a major Japanese retailer like Ami, so you can't really claim insurance or things like that, claim for damages and things like that, unlike buying from Ami. This figure is already sold out in Ami long ago. So I had to take things into my own hands to repair the figure. I have not glued the tail back onto the figure because I wanted to show you guys the damage. That's the whole point. To be honest with you guys, a broken tail is not a major concern because as long as you do a good job with glue application, the figure will look as good as new again. My main concern was paint scratches. So what happens is when a major figure part breaks off in the box, there is nothing to hold the broken part in place. It is moving around during shipping. And when the part moves around in box, it will be rubbing against the figure. This friction will result in paint scratches, and paint scratches are very unpredictable. If you are lucky enough, the paint scratches will be very superficial and can be removed by just using rubbing alcohol, such as on the back of the figure over here, there were a few purple colored paint smudges that came from her tail, a broken tail. So what I did was I used leveling thinner, just a bit of it on a cotton bud, and slowly rub against the paint scratches and it went away. So that was an easy fix. However, paint scratches can be very deep sometimes. For example, the front of a hair over here, the scratch was so deep that even thinner or rubbing alcohol will not be able to remove the scratch. Basically, when I use a toothpick to slowly rub against the scratch surface, you can feel some kind of indentation. So basically, the scratch is deep enough that it has gone into the deeper layers of the paint, touching the actual material, the PVC material of the figure. And the only way to fix a deep scratch is to repaint the affected area. And this is where the hardest part comes, to mix paint in a way that the color matches exactly the same as a figure. Most anime figures, right, the paint they use, they are not base colors. They are a very complex mix of colors, a very specific shade. And did I manage to fix the figure, to paint the figure, to get the right paint mixture? Yes, I did, fortunately. But I wasn't able to do it by myself. I had to ask my friend who is more experienced in this kind of things. I showed them pictures of this figure, her hair, and I asked him, where do I even start? What paint would you recommend for me to begin mixing? What are the base colors? And I followed his recommendations, and the rest, everything else was my own blind guessing, my own trial and error. This bottle of paint right here, this is actually the color of the front of her hair. I know it looks a bit different in the video because this is the lightest shade right exactly in the middle over here, while the darker shades on the corners, on the edges, you have to make this paint darker by adding red paint to get a darker pink color. And this pink mixture over here is a mixture of 5 different colors. This shows how difficult it is. The main ingredient for the color of the hair naturally is pink, and to make pink darker you need red color. I have 3 different reds over here, and my friend told me to go with Rosette red, the darkest red, because this is hot pink or even almost magenta. So it makes sense to go with the darker shade of red color. So yes, Rosette red, Mr. Color 81 is one of the ingredients, but I also added red madder, a bit of it. Red madder is almost pure red, right? This is also one of the ingredients, 2 different reds. The third one, flame red, was not used. Flame red is a lighter shade of red, a bit of orange, and I don't see any orange over here, so this wasn't used. The fourth one is of course white color. You need white color to make it brighter or lighter if necessary. I ran out of white color paint, so I used this very light gray. It looks like white, but it's a very light shade of grey. This was the fourth ingredient. And the fifth color is actually a secret ingredient. I said that the hot pink here looks like magenta. And magenta is somewhere in between pink and purple. So yes, purple was the last ingredient. And by being an ingredient, a secret ingredient, I mean just only 3 or 4 drops from a dropper in this, and it made all the difference. Without this, with only pink and red and white alone, I couldn't get this color. So this proves how difficult it is to mix paint colors to get the exact color you want on any figure. 5 colors to get this. And finally, after you are done painting the hair, you need a clear coating. This is number 6, GX114 Super Smooth Clear Flat Clear Coating. This is also a blind guess from me because I thought that the surface of the figure was incredibly smooth, but not very shiny at the same time, so it should be GX114, and my guess was correct. After I coated this with airbrushing on the entire front hairpiece, not just the scratch area, for consistency, the front of the hairpiece with my own paint job is exactly the same in touch feel as the rest of the figure. This was an incredibly confidence boosting experience, to be honest. Now that I have successfully fixed the figure's paint scratch, I would be more willing to try that again on any other figures in the future, even for major damages on a figure. So this is the kind of experience that is great to go through. If you were to ever try fixing or painting your own skilled figures, you want to try it, I would advise just go for it. But of course, play it safe. If you think you are making it worse, then you stop right there. That was the advice my friend gave me. And if you were to ask me if I did a good job on the front of her hair over here, I would say this is about 90% of what I wanted. It could have been better, to be honest. However, whenever I try to be more perfectionist about my own work, I tend to screw up something. So instead of trying for 100%, once I reach 90 or 95%, I stop right there. This is plenty good enough, but it is still very unfortunate that something like this happened to such a nice figure. So before I end this video, I would like to clarify one thing. If you were to ask me, did Questio did a bad job with this figure in terms of quality and paint job, that is a definite no. Questio did a fantastic job with painting this figure, with sculpting this figure, no questions about it. What I was unhappy about is the packaging, the box. It could have been a lot better. And more details on her paint job on the figure quality will be covered in her figure review later. So that is what I've been doing, trying to figure out how to fix the figure with all the paint mixing, which took me more than a week. Yes, and that's basically the backstory of everything that has happened in the past 1.5 weeks. If you do have any questions, feel free to ask in the comments below, and thank you very much for keeping up with me to the end. Thank you for watching this video, and I shall see you guys very soon again. I will be reviewing a prize figure before I review this figure of Elizabeth Bathory. This one right here, Seiritsu no Hasan, I think, from Fate's Grand Order. Prize figure by Banpresto. I will be reviewing this one next before I move on to reviewing Elizabeth, because I will need to glue her tail back first. So do watch out for the review of this figure very soon. Thank you very much for watching, and I shall see you guys again very soon. Goodbye.